Hey, welcome in. Johnston RV Center Saturday preview. Also presented by Champy's world famous fried chicken. He is Lance Taylor. He is Jim Dunaway. I'm Ryan Brown. It is Rivalry weekend. Dunaway tries to warn us how fast the season goes. Here we are, LT.
He was right.
We should have listened. Should have listened to him.
I am blown away at how quick. This is the fastest football season in my life.
It feels that way. I agree with Lance.
We say this every year that it feels this way.
Lance is right this year, though. It does. It's the fastest one.
It really is. And this might end up being the most unpredictable when all things are said and done. Now, if Georgia plays Ohio State for the national championship, then maybe not. But I've just got this feeling we've still got chaos maybe this weekend and then moving forward the championship games and once we get to the playoffs.
I think it's a blessing to what we have done here over the last 16 months. But I really wasn't ready for football season. I was having such a good time this summer.
Right.
No stress at work. We were having a blast up here. I was having fun in my personal life that I never got into the mood for football season.
Wow. Has it all fallen apart for you during football?
No, I'm just saying that, it has flown by, but I'm not eaten up with the usual blues that I am about being this time of year usually.
I kind of am just because Saturdays are so different.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to seek things out to do on Saturdays, non-football wise.
Yep. It's just so much fun, man. I just love it.
I love college football.
Love it. Well, it's Rivalry weekend, and we've got some rivalry games to talk about. First of all, a reminder, if you're watching us on YouTube and you're around for the first time, maybe give us a thumbs up. Even if it's not the first time, thumbs up. Subscribe, set your alerts. Follow us on social media at Next Round Live. We'll have some post-game videos from the Iron Bowl with myself and Dunaway. No normal show, but post-game videos. Also, give us a thumbs up on Facebook, on Twitch, on Twitter. Retweet this, share it on Facebook. Do all those things we ask you. Thank you to Johnston RV Center, johnstonrvcenter.com, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Also, Champy's world famous fried chicken, good for your tailgates and your Iron Bowl parties. Y'all ready to get some games here? We don't have as many games because we had Thursday and Friday games.
That's right.
Let's start with number one, Georgia, playing host to Georgia Tech. Now, this is a big number, 36.5. with a total of 48.5. I always find it weird, Lance, when I see a number that's 36.5 and a total of 48.5. They're telling me Georgia Tech is not scoring much.
Yeah, well, they're predicting Georgia Tech to score 4 or 5 points.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, they score a touchdown. You can't get the combination of Georgia and the under.
Yeah.
This is one of those, just stay healthy for Georgia. That it would be an impossibility. I know you guys hate when I speak.
No, you're right on this one.
Yeah, they can't lose this game. And even Georgia Tech going back last week, as good as their defense played in the second half against Drake May and that North Carolina offense, holding them to no points. Even if they play lights out, they lose this game. And if I'm Georgia, I just want to stay healthy, use some of that depth, and get prepared for LSU.
You cannot have a conversation about this game without complimenting both coaches, Brent Key, the guy who took over for Jeff Collins, to do 4-3 for them down the stretch, beat North Carolina last week. He's done an amazing job.
I don't know what you do in that situation because I don't know what kind of coach you can get at Tech.
Right.
And you don't want to knee-jerk it with the interim guy. But at the same time, man, they have played really good football for him.
They really have. And he's down to his third and fourth string quarterback. If you haven't been following along, he used a third and fourth stringer to beat North Carolina, which is amazing. And on the flip side of that, I think you have to also compliment the guy on the other side, Kirby Smart, because this team lost 6 first-round draft picks, a defense. They lost 15 NFL draft picks. They're all over the NFL like Alabama used to be, and they have bounced back. And start to finish, even throw in Columbia, they have been the most consistent team from week 1 to right now. They are the number 1 team in the country. So hat off in an interim basis to Brent Key, but to Kirby Smart for what he has done. And we've said it a couple of times throughout the year. He has built in Athens what used to be in Tuscaloosa.
Yes. And Coach of the Year, he's probably not going to get, but you can make an argument for it.
Yeah, look, let's say that LSU, for whatever reason, loses to A&M this weekend. Then Brian Kelly takes on his third loss. Heupel lost it last weekend against South Carolina. Then I think Kirby Smart probably is your SEC Coach of the Year. But if Kelly finishes the deal here, they go 10-2 in the regular season. I'm not shocked Georgia's in this spot. I'm pretty shocked that LSU in year 1 is in this spot.
If A&M beats LSU, it opens the door for Clark Lee, but it should be Kirby Smart, one of those two at that point.
Yeah, if Clark Lee, if they were to beat Tennessee this weekend.
South Carolina is at Clemson. Clemson minus 14.5 in this game with a total of 52.5. That's an 11 o'clock ABC game, the Georgia Tech game on ESPN at the same time. Earlier this week, LT likes South Carolina maybe to keep this tight.
In this game, you're going to have, again, they're trying to get their running backs back, but I was impressed by how they had a makeshift, really talented physical running attack with a tight end running the football last week for South Carolina. The question becomes, can Spencer Rattler be half the guy he was last week? If he's half the guy he was last week, they got a fighting chance to win this game. He doesn't even have to be his 6 touchdown self. If he's a 3 touchdown, no turnover guy, they got a chance to have the best quarterback in this game. And then it becomes who can run the ball. Can they control Will Shipley? And they got a chance to do that.
I don't know about you guys. The most shocking thing I've seen this entire football season was last week and what South Carolina did to Tennessee.
No doubt.
Yeah, and not that Tennessee's got a great defense by any means. And look, that would be the difference in this game is Clemson's got a good defense. Tennessee's got not a good defense. I've never seen Spencer Rattler play back-to-back really good games. But you're right. I mean, if he's 80% of what he was last week, they've got a fighting shot here. I think Clemson probably wins this game going away. I mean, I'd love to see another upset. Shane Beamer's done a great job there, win or lose in this situation. But Clemson probably wins. And with a little chaos, they've still got a really good chance of backdooring their way in.
They do. Much like in the rivalry game in our state, if this game was at Willie B's, as they like to call it now.
That was wearing me out.
If this was at Willie B's, I'd feel a better chance. But Clemson they don't lose at home. And I think it's like 40 in a row.
40 straight.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Clemson in this one just because it's in the other Death Valley.
If it's at Willie B's and Tennessee's pass defense was there, I'd give Spencer Rattler a chance of doing that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the big game, 11 o'clock Fox, the big noon kickoff. Klatt, Gus Johnson of the gang will be there. Michigan at Ohio State. Michigan, as we discussed this, a 7.5-point underdog. So Ohio State favored 7.5. Blake Corum was the big story here.
Yeah, I mean,
running back health overall, really.
Well, yeah. But, you know, the good news for Ohio State, it doesn't matter when one of these guys goes down. I mean, they've got 3 guys that have got over 500 yards and over 100 carries. So they've got depth at the position. Blake Corum is the offense for Michigan. And, you know, the good news for Michigan is you got over the hump. You were able to beat Ohio State, win a Big Ten, get to a college football playoff last year. So I think they've got the confidence that they can play with them. I think they're the more physical team. They don't have the speed. Without Blake Corum, I just don't give them any shot here.
Best offensive line in the game is Michigan, tackle to tackle. I think they're the best offensive line in the game. Ohio State's just been missing something. It's like having an 8-cylinder and 7 of the cylinders are working. They've just been missing something all year long. But I think last year pissed them off a little bit. I think they've been sort of looking to this game all year. Ryan Day, I think it comes down to Jim Knowles has corrected this defense enough to where last year it looked like you had a lot of hero ball on Ohio State's defense, people trying to make the play that was going to make them the star of the big game.
Right.
And they were out of sync, out of gap, and it allowed Michigan to run the ball down the throat. Jim Knowles corrects that, keeps them calm, keep them playing as one. I like Ohio State to beat Michigan, and it may be close, but I like Ohio State to win it.
All right, that gets us out of the early window. We'll move to the 2:30 window in 1 second. A reminder, it is the Johnston RV Center Saturday preview, johnstonrvcenter.com. That is johnstonrvcenter.com. Still, they got some of those 22s left. They are making great deals on them to get them out of the way to make room for the 23s. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, always online, johnstonrvcenter.com. Also, as you're planning your Iron Bowl parties, make sure Champy's is part of it. Great chicken fingers, po' boys, those wonderful Mississippi Delta tamales, great sides, desserts, right there at Champy's. Champy's world famous chicken in Alabaster off 119. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Also on Twitter and Facebook, share it on Facebook, retweet it. Make sure you subscribe and set your alerts on YouTube, and also follow us on social media at Next Round Live. All right, in the midday window, an interesting game in the Civil War, 2:30 ABC. Dunaway, number 9, Oregon, at number 21, Oregon, the favorite here, -3.5 on the road at Reser Stadium, which is still limited capacity, but a tough place to play.
22,000.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. But it's still a tough 22,000, it seems.
But it's not Autzen, so
Nope.
that is a big advantage for Oregon State. And this comes down to me, Bo Nix. What can you get out of him in the running game? With him just as a drop back passer, gutted it out last week to get the win in a very close game that was big for Oregon. Now, what do you get out of him this week? If he's still limited at all, I think the door is open for an Oregon State upset. If he can't run in that offense, which I don't think he's going to be able to do, if he can't run in this offense, to the way he could earlier in the season, I think Oregon State's got a chance to pull the upset.
Yeah, look, Jonathan Smith has done a tremendous job at his alma mater. And, this is a team that's been incredible against the number. They're catching 3.5 here. The problem is they're lacking at the quarterback position as well. But if Bo is limited, you kind of get a push there. And Oregon State's got the best defense in the Pac-12 at home. I like Oregon State.
Also in that window, it's not a ranked game, but it is an SEC game. And I know, Dunaway, you played in your pick 3, Louisville and Kentucky. It is at Kroger Stadium, Kroger Field. Kentucky -2.5. Louisville's had the better year this year. I know Kentucky's -2.5. I feel like Louisville's the better team.
Well, Louisville's exceeded expectations. Kentucky's under.
Maybe that's why?
Right, yeah. I mean, Kentucky got up as high as, I don't know, early.
They were top 10 in that Ole Miss game, were they not?
I think they might have been
close.
number 10.
Yeah.
And now Louisville's ranked in the college football rankings. They come in at 25th. Kentucky not ranked. So I think you're right. One went
It's
over expectations.
Yeah, there's no
one
doubt.
went down.
There's
But
no
I
doubt.
kind of like Kentucky in this one.
I just feel like that Will Levis and their offense has lost their way. I don't feel like they've
never had a way under Mark Stoops.
I don't think I don't think they know what they're doing anymore offensively. I don't know who they are and what they are. Levis has regressed. I actually believe Louisville ends up being the more physical team in this game. I like Louisville to pull the upset at Kroger Field.
I don't know if I believe Louisville's a more physical team. Louisville's definitely got a much better offense. Kentucky is A&M East.
Yeah, you're talking about what you expect the preseason versus what you actually got.
Well, and there's no offense.
Oh, okay.
Usually pretty good defense.
Yeah, Kentucky's got a better defense than A&M, I think. But yes, I see what you're saying there. It's a pretty good comparison.
Not a good product to watch.
By the way, Kentucky got a better record than A&M too.
Yeah.
In a big twist, ironically, this UK-UL rivalry football game will be better than the December UL-UK basketball game, the way Louisville's
Kenny Payne
basketball
off to a
team
tough start, isn't
Yeah.
he? Yeah.
not going good there.
Coach Bryant coached at both Kentucky and Texas A&M another time.
I've heard that. Yeah.
All right. Also in that 2:30 window, CBS Sports Network down in Ruston. UAB is at La Tech. The Blazers are playing for bowl eligibility, and they're an 18.5-point favorite. They're the better team here. We've talked a lot about it on this show. Dwayne McBride's the big story here. Can he
He
get the
really
record?
is. The best D in this game is Dwayne McBride. And I think he can run all day long in this one. Brian Vincent joked when he was on with us that he knew where the record is. He knew the yardage. It wasn't like needs about 150. He knew he needed 147. I think McBride runs and runs and runs and runs. The game plan will be for him to run it.
Yeah, I look at him getting about 25 carries, averaging about 7 yards a carry. I look for him 175-ish yards, a couple of touchdowns, breaks the UAB all-time rushing record. He leads the nation right now. La Tech is a team that's lost 5 of 6 games. UAB's 0-5 on the road. I mean, what in the hell are they doing as a 17.5-point favorite? I mean, they're gonna run them off the field trying to get bowl eligible.
That's one of those where if it's a tight game, you don't need to talk to me. But if we've got this game under control, I want the guy in my headset, if I'm Vincent, saying, hey, he's at 140. He's at 135. I want to know, right? Yeah. I mean, he's done enough for this program. You want him to go away with that record.
And if you watch our interviews with Brian Vincent throughout the year, he just calls him Debo.
Debo.
Like they're, like it's almost a son of his. It means a lot to him.
So let me ask you guys this. I mean, obviously they got run off the field last week against LSU. But if UAB was sitting here at 10-1 and won those tight games, would Dwayne McBride be a guy we're talking about for the Heisman?
I don't know.
Well, he's a Doak Walker finalist right now. I mean, he's down to 1 of 16.
Yeah.
Semifinalists.
I don't know. I mean, you lead the nation in rushing. I mean, it's a great story.
It is a great story. I think there would be people campaining for him. I don't think he would have a shot over like a Caleb Williams or somebody like that.
Yeah, but Timmy Chang made it to
No, I'm just talking about a finalist.
Oh, finalist? Yeah.
Timmy Chang made it to New York, right? One of those quarterbacks at Hawaii.
Cole
Brennan did.
Yeah. Also in that window, there's a little game we call the Iron Bowl. Now, we'll make our official picks a little bit later on, but as of right now, at this moment, 2:30 CBS game, Bama, a 22.5-point favorite. It opened right around that. It hasn't really moved a whole lot.
Yeah, it really has. And I mean, because you can't trust Bama. I don't know what you're going to get with Auburn because, the quarterback play is.
You can trust him a little bit more at home than you can on the road, though.
Yeah, you can. But I don't know. I mean, I lean Bama, but I've leaned Bama a lot in these big number games, and it just hasn't worked out. But you're right; they're much better at home.
Am I the only one that these Iron Bowls used to feel like Feinbaum used to write this story every Sunday? The power has swung in the state on the outcome of the game.
Yep.
It just doesn't feel that way anymore. It just doesn't feel like this swings the power in the state. And I know it's probably because of what Nick Saban has done there and Auburn where they are. But even if Auburn pulls the upset, it'll be great momentum in the offseason.
But you're changing coaches.
Yeah. And Nick Saban, I guess, would still be there. What's on the line other than bragging rights, and how important is that anymore to what we're doing? Because Auburn has the built-in excuse, interim coach, we're changing coaches, we're turning the page. Alabama's not playing for a championship or anything. This is one of the flattest Iron Bowl lead-ins of my lifetime.
So we haven't talked about this on the show at all. And Lane Kiffin, as we are doing this show right now, we have no idea what he's going to do. A lot of people still believe he's going to take this Auburn job. But for whatever reason, if Lane doesn't take it and Auburn pulled this upset, is there a possibility that Cadillac gets the job?
There'll be some people pushing for it, but I think John Cohen's probably already made that decision. You can't let it come down to a one-game situation.
I don't think you can either. And that's what's a little tricky, though, if you don't already have the guy in hand that's giving you a verbal.
But let's look back what we know this week. Tank Bigsby has publicly said in news conferences, it's refreshing, electrifying is the word he used, to have a coaching staff that is, quote, getting the ball to its playmakers.
The numbers tell you, I mean, we used to wonder where he disappeared to.
Yeah, a direct shot at Brian Harsin and his coaching staff that was not getting him and others the football. He finds it inspiring. And that team is playing better. The offensive line is blocking better because they know who they are. It's a small, simplified plan, but they're doing their plan better than they were doing the other more complicated plan. And I wonder if Alabama will simplify things to let their better athletes win this game.
Back to the just weird hypothetical. Lane turns them down, and you know you can get Garrett Riley as your offensive coordinator from Kansas State. Zach Arnett is your defensive coordinator from Mississippi State, and Cadillac is your guy.
So weird. I don't know.
Would you take that package?
Oh, I mean,
look, Cadillac, you just provide the energy, you recruit, you get these guys up, and let these guys call the offense.
A lot of coaches are CEOs. They're not headset guys. There are a lot of coaches that way. So, I mean, but Cornell brings something to the table. He played the game at the highest level. I think he's probably earned his shot somewhere to maybe, if that's what he wants to do, go be a head coach and try to work his way up the ladder.
All right, let's continue. Let's go to the 3 o'clock window. FS1, Penn State, Michigan State, minus 19.5 Penn State. Michigan State's got players facing felony charges for what happened to the tunnel at Michigan. This has been a complete mess. Oh, and a story I don't know that we got to. It came out that last year, Mel Tucker, who got like a $9.5 million contract, also got a $100,000 bonus for, quote unquote, to divide between he and his staff. There was no division. He kept the whole thing, as it has been reported, which is a epically bad look for him.
Oh, man. I mean, can you imagine if one of us got a $100,000 bonus up here to split?
Or we kept it all.
Somebody just kept it all.
Yeah.
And you're already you've got this ridiculous contract that's paying you more than $9 million a year. And I think the majority of his contract is guaranteed. That was one of the worst deals in history. It reminds you almost of like a Brock Osweiler when Denver gave him all that money. I mean, this is going to go down as an epic failure. I never believed in the Mel Tucker experiment. It worked out for transfer portal guys last year like Kenneth Walker. But, I mean, this has been a disaster. With all that said, Penn State, you don't trust the offense.
I don't.
Defense pretty good. I think things get better for Penn State next year once they move on from Sean Clifford.
He does seem to be erratic. James Franklin's a guy who this is really the first so far coaching cycle where his name really hasn't been out there. He hasn't been pushing for another job with that big contract. Somehow I feel like if we had a $100,000 bonus, you two would split it 50-50. I'd be the one left out.
Of course he feels that way. How do you know it hasn't happened?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's go on to Utah, Colorado, another big lopsided number, 3 o'clock Pac-12 network. Utah's minus 29.5. You really like this team. I mean, look, they're going to destroy Colorado. But
I mean, Cam Rising, outside of the USC game, Cam Rising played great in that game. And in a game they actually won. But you look at the bad decisions against Florida, the awful decisions last week against Oregon. I mean, this should be right now a one-loss team that still has an opportunity to get to a college football playoff. Colorado is awful. They've lost every game by double digits. They've been double-digit dogs in every game. Utah will be able to name their score here, but it's been a disappointing season for Kyle Whittingham.
If I was Colorado, I would go and get Bronco Mendenhall quick and hire him to be my future coach.
There's reports they've offered Dion.
Yeah, Dion, I think works better at Arizona State.
I agree.
To see Dion in the palm trees.
You're just trying to recreate BYU Bronco Mendenhall. That's what you're
That's
doing.
exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's recruited to that region of the country.
Oh, he's a good coach.
And then I think Dion is a guy that, there's a little you can build. It's not Los Angeles, but a lot of people vacation from Los Angeles to
Dion ain't gonna like Boulder, man. I'm telling
you.
That's why I put him at ASU.
Oh, yeah,
Arizona State.
Yeah, ASU or Georgia Tech. I think the Georgia Tech ship's already sailed, but one of those makes sense. Colorado makes no sense.
I would love Dion and Shedeur at Arizona State, and with what's left in that conference, with USC and UCLA leaves, Arizona State could be a player, man.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Let's go to Iowa State TCU, also 3:00 on Fox. TCU a 9.5-point favorite. Is this finally the week?
And I'm not picking against them this week.
Okay.
There's nothing left from Iowa State. Now, I don't know if I trust TCU in the Big 12 championship game. I saw yesterday that the odds to win their last two games was 45% for TCU and 39% for USC. So the projectors, the FPIs, and the SP plus, whatever,
S&P plus,
are both projecting that less than 50% for both of these teams that they win two games straight. Can't see TCU losing this one. Could see them losing to Kansas State.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, look, you go back to the Kansas State game; they should have won that. If Adrian Martinez doesn't go out, they do win that game, and then Will Howard goes out, and you bring in Kurt Warner's kid. Or was it Kurt Warner's kid or whoever it was, the third string guy, and he throws a pick on one attempt. And that really was the difference in the game. So Iowa State's got the best defense in the Big 12. They've got no offense whatsoever. And, going back to last week, TCU is able to survive, make that last second field goal. Typically championship teams have that one moment. They've had a million of those moments this year.
Yep.
So I don't know what to buy into it. I don't think that they will end up undefeated. I don't think they lose this week. Do think they lose to K-State.
Matt Campbell's interesting.
I was about to say.
We always talk about, getting out at the right time. Don't stay somewhere too long.
I was going to say it's another job cycle. You said this was James Franklin a moment ago where we heard no Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
And
if you stack one of these back to back another year after this, the bloom's off the flower.
No, but I would tell you this. I mean, we would all agree at one moment, well, for a while, decade plus, Iowa State was the worst Power 5 job out there.
Yep.
And this is the only bad year he really has had. And he had a lot of attrition to the NFL from Iowa State. So I give him a complete pass. But if I'm an Auburn fan, back to this, Matt Campbell to Auburn, I know people would say Gene Chizik, we're not going to get another Iowa State coach. To me, that's kind of ridiculous when you think like that. But I think Matt Campbell would be a great hire.
Let's go to the night slate. Before we do, a reminder, it's the Johnston RV Center Saturday preview, johnstonrvcenter.com, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Also, Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Bring you to the show here. Don't forget to include them in all your watch parties in bowl season, your Christmas parties, things like that. Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champy'schicken.com. Give us a thumbs up wherever you're watching us. Make sure you subscribe, set your alerts on YouTube, retweet us on Twitter, share us on Facebook, like us on Twitch there as well. Make sure you follow us at Next Run Live on all social media. All right, in the night slate, ESPN game. LSU is at Texas A&M. LSU minus 9.5 at A&M. Jimbo's got to win this one to avoid finishing dead last by himself. Not even Vanderbilt or Missouri or Auburn, anybody, by himself in the SEC. That's a remarkable sentence.
Okay, so I said the one game situation, the biggest surprise to me, South Carolina, the way they dismantled Tennessee. The biggest surprise in college football has been how bad they are.
Yeah,
I thought 8-4 because I thought they were.
You thought that was
overhyped
the
this year.
basement.
I did, and for them to beat Alabama, to beat 10-1 2 years ago or 9-1 2 years ago, to beat Bama last year, and this was the year A&M fans believed they would finally get over the hump, and for this to be the way things played out, it is nearly impossible. It's kind of weird that LSU's only a 9.5-point favorite here. Though.
Yeah, it does seem skinny.
Well, it's a road game, right? So it's
at A&M.
So that's a little bit.
I wonder what the fan support will be like.
But I thought LSU, without both Boutte and a big running back, they were able to go out and do maybe one of their better, more complete games, both offensively and defensively, against a fairly good UAB team last week. So I'm interested to see what LSU can do if they keep stacking on a good performance going in against Georgia. On the flip side with Texas A&M, once this game goes final, Saturday night, Sunday, all day Sunday, I'll be watching the feed to see which five-star commitment is leaving College Station. What is the portal? What does the exit look like to see? And, If they start bouncing out, entering the portal, is that a straw that breaks the boosters' backs and say, whoa, we got to keep this recruiting class together? Do we need to pull the trigger on Jimbo Fisher and try to save something?
And again, I still have a weird feeling that they're going to pay that guaranteed out.
So does Charles Barkley, apparently.
It seems like they would have done that already, but I guess not.
I mean, they might be able to save $5 million if he stays till the end of the first. I don't know.
Yeah, that's penny. 6:30 ABC. Notre Dame is at USC. Massive game here.
Fun game.
The Trojans -4.5. I don't know who Lance is pulling for.
Yeah, me either.
Who do you like on this one?
I like Notre Dame. I like Marcus Freeman and that Notre Dame team being able to. I mean, you're not gonna slow Caleb Williams down, but to make it maybe a game in the 20s, low 30s, and not in the 40s, like it was last week with UCLA. Minimize what Caleb Williams can do defensively. Marcus Freeman, they're going to run the ball. They're going to shorten the game. Count the number of possessions USC gets in this game. I think it's going to be 7 or 8 possessions. So they'll have to make every one of them count to usually get their offensive out point. I'm going to say 8.
How many did they have against UCLA, you think? Probably
14? 8 and a quarter.
8 and a quarter.
Okay, so Drew Pine is playing better football at quarterback for Marcus Freeman. I still, Notre Dame's defense, I don't think they can keep up with the speed of USC. Travis Dye was a huge loss. They were able to survive UCLA without him. Austin Jones, a Stanford transfer, played pretty well. He's got to take a little pressure off of Caleb Williams. He can take a little pressure off Caleb Williams. They get running a little bit. I think it'll open things up for USC. Where the number sits, it screams Notre Dame. But I'm just hoping it's just a bad number.
Late SEC Network game, 6:30, number 10, Tennessee at Vanderbilt. Tennessee, almost a 2-touchdown favorite 13.5. That's a Joe Milton line with Hendon Hooker in this game.
Well, I mean, if Hendon Hooker would have played all of last week, he finishes the game, they find a way to beat South Carolina. This number's 28.
Yeah, 28. So this is a South Carolina and Hendon Hooker reaction here at 13.5.
And Vanderbilt winning back-to-back games. Yeah. I think you're getting a really good number here with Tennessee. I think Tennessee ends up winning this game going away.
I do too.
Is it Nissan Stadium? Is that where they're playing this?
You know what? I never got the confirmation on that. I'll see if I can find that.
I'll tell you who won't be there.
You?
Yep.
Yeah, you will not be there. It's been an amazing year for Vandy. I agree with you guys. I think Tennessee wakes up and they finish this and win this game and go to a bowl game. I don't know how many of their players, play in a bowl game. If Jalen Hyatt or whomever is going to leave and go to the pros, if they're all in and playing one more meaningless game in a bowl game after what was on the table for them, it's hard to imagine they have 2 horrible back-to-back weeks offensively.
Kansas is at Kansas State. I am told this game, Lunsford tells me it's at Vandy, not Nissan Stadium. So
at Vandy. Wow.
So that place holds about 40. I would imagine 38,000 Tennessee fans.
Probably.
10,000 Vandy fans.
Yeah, but I was thinking it was going to be at Nissan and would be 50,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Number 12, Kansas State, the Sunflower Cup. You live out there. So the Sunflower Cup -11.5 as they play host to Kansas. It's a 7 o'clock Fox game. Why this is important is Kansas State wins and they're in against TCU.
Yeah, look, and Chris Kleiman's going to have these guys focused, and Will Howard's been so good in a backup role, and Deuce Vaughn, such an explosive guy. Kansas is overachieved. Lance Leipold has done a great job, but watching them last week against Texas, by the way, Texas was a lock on Saturday, can't get that image out of my head. Bijan just up and down the field. I think you'll see the same thing with Deuce Vaughn. I think Kansas State wins this game going.
It was a weird payback game against Kansas by Texas.
It really was. But boy, they got it.
You don't have to pay Kansas back very often, but they did.
I mean, and Kansas State's turned into one of those teams. It doesn't matter which quarterback they're playing.
No,
they're very
it's a testament to Kleiman, I think.
Yeah, and they're such different quarterbacks.
Yeah. So I like the Howard kid, and I like Kansas State in this game too. It was one of my pick 3s.
All right, one more fun late game, 9:30 Pac-12 after dark, ESPN, the Apple Cup. Washington favored 1.5 at Wazoo. I like Wazoo here.
Kalen DeBoer gets a contract extension this week. Washington's had a better year than I thought they were going to have, but something for some reason tells me Washington State in this game too. Maybe I just sit around you guys too much, but Dickert's done a really good job. Another one of those first-year coaches. DeBoer and Dickert both have done a really good job.
Yeah, they really have. And I think Cameron Ward will play well against this Washington defense. And obviously Penix can be throwing it all over the yard, but I think it'll be a really good game, but I like the Cougars. All
right, we're going to make our official Iron Bowl picks against the number in just 1 second. A reminder, thank you to JohnstonRVCenter.com, JohnstonRVCenter.com, I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. They're still clearing out those 22s to make room for the 23s. So get by Johnston RV Center. Also, Champy's world famous fried chicken. Great for all your parties this holiday season, as well as your watch parties in football. ChampysChicken.com. That is ChampysChicken.com. Give this a thumbs up wherever you're watching us. Make sure you subscribe and set your alerts on YouTube. Retweet us. Share us on Facebook. Like us on Twitch. And always follow us at Next Round Live on all social media at Next Round Live. All right, 22.5. Alabama favored 22.5. Dunaway, where are you going?
38-13, Alabama.
I swear to God.
That was your
38-13,
pick?
Yeah.
Brown, same thing?
I'm going to go 31.
So
I'm going to go
random.
31-14. 31-14. So we're all about in the same ballpark.
So we've all got the under, and we've got Bama, and you've got Auburn in the under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just it feels weird without nothing on the line really for Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is the first time since 2010 Alabama hasn't been ranked in the top 5. And even going back to 2010, if they would have won that game, well, I guess nothing was really at stake for Bama in 2000.
No, they're just ruining it for Auburn.
Yeah.
At that point, yeah.
But, I mean, this is just – it kind of reminds me of an Iron Bowl before Saban.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It used to have a bigger fill even in these types of games, though.
Yeah,
I'm with you, Dunaway.
Somebody's trying to crawl up the mountain.
Yeah.
Like, do you wish TCU and USC and what else am I looking for? TCU, USC, and Clemson were playing tonight.
And they all lost.
And if all 3 of those lost, does it make it a little more interesting?
Maybe a little more. What I really wish is both teams are playing for a berth in the championship game.
Yeah.
The Brian Harsin had worked at Auburn, and Alabama hadn't lost 2 games. And
11-0 versus 11-0.
yeah, this is for a berth in Atlanta and Carey's national championship.
Oh, man. I mean,
that's what I really wish.
So what was the – like 2013, that was a game that had
No doubt.
either one of
Winners
those
in.
teams. Yeah.
Yep.
But have we had one since?
Not really.
In 16 or 17, when Auburn ended up playing Georgia.
Yeah. Alabama ended up playing for the national championship.
Yeah, so that was there.
Yeah, it wasn't a guarantee for Auburn. They would have needed, that Iron Bowl win. Alabama only had the one loss there, though. I don't know. So
You guys will be there.
Yep, we'll be there.
And we'll have our post-game coverage, video-wise, like we do at the national championship game.
Follow us. This is our national championship this year.
So that means
Follow
I'm
us.
off tomorrow. No after
That's right.
party.
That's it. Follow us on social media where you'll see that at Next Round Live, at Next Round Live. Thank you to JohnstonRVCenter.com. Thank you to Champy's world famous fried chicken. Enjoy Rivalry Saturday. We'll talk to you Monday morning, 9 o'clock.